Welcome back everybody to Exotic Car Play Place. Today we're standing in front of the brand new 2019 BMW 330i, or xDrive version actually, and we're going to compare it to the 2019 Audi A4. Also has all-wheel drive with the Quattro system. So those two car manufacturers have been competitors for years, and they've both been back and forth battling to try to outdo the other one. One comes up with something, the next one comes up with something better. So today we're going to do some comparisons from the latest 330i. This is the G20 series versus the Audi A4, the latest and the greatest from Audi. The best comparison prior to the 2020 new release that will be coming out shortly. Compare the two and show you some of the key differences. So let's start out with some of the basics. How about fuel economy? Well, they're actually very similar. One does better in the city and one does slightly better on the highway. The Audi does 27 miles per gallon in the city and about 34 on the highway, whereas the BMW 330 behind me, the G20, does 26 in the city and 36 on the highway. So the BMW does a little bit better on the highway, not quite as good in the city as the Audi. So there are two key differences between these cars in terms of drivetrains as well. One of them being the Audi has a 7-speed automatic transmission, whereas the BMW actually has an 8-speed automatic ZF transmission that has an optional paddle shift available to it as well. And then we talk about interior finishing. The Audi has always been known for its quality and class. The quality, the fit and finish of materials, the buttons, the controls have always been top notch. So overall button quality, I say, actually feels better in these cars than it does in the BMWs. It actually feels very sturdy. Everything's well made. There's a nice solid click. There's no hesitation as whether that button's operating or not. The technology's always been leading edge, and honestly, the Audi was one of the first to have some digital displays in the dashboard area, as well as their MMI setup has always been top shelf, has always functioned very well, and has done a great job of feeling the driver in control, and everything's been very intuitive. Now, as time goes on, I would say the Audi has sort of lost touch with designs, and honestly, the A4 has been more consistent, standardized, slightly bland, if not high quality finishing, whereas the BMW now in this new 330i xDrive version is actually stepped up. It's far more futuristic. It's got a lot more styling elements. It's not higher quality because the Audi already we spoke of is very high quality materials and buttons and controls. But now I would say the BMW has very similar quality on some of the buttons, and these controls are very similar in style and quality and fit and finish as you would find in the Audi. They're actually following some of Audi's design themes and elements. However, key difference is the overall design feature and theme within the BMW now is elevated in such a way that it just does feel a lot more state of the art. The look of the seat, the inserts on the seats down here in the seating, you've got some of the extra stitching and design is a little bit nicer and more modern. The dash and the door panels look a little bit more, again, slightly dressed up from previous generations, as well as even the Audi. And now, of course, the iDrive system here is much better integrated, where the Audi actually has one that sits up quite high on the dashboard, and it's more like the older generation 3 series, the previous gen, the F30, where it actually had a really high iDrive display and it became more of in your face and a little bit more intrusive, if you will. This one actually is a little lower profile, much nicer that way. Overall, very comparable in quality, but the Audi slightly dressed down in terms of styling elements. Okay, so let's open the hood. And under the hood of this brand new 2019 330xi BMW lies a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 255 horsepower and about 295 foot-pound of torque. Now the Audi shares similar powertrains. It is also a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, but it has two configurations, one at 188 horsepower and another one at about 248 horsepower. Either way, the BMW gains the advantage, has a higher output than the Audi, and as a result, because of the weight savings of the BMW, where it actually shed weight from the last generation by about 120 pounds, that coupled with the increased output makes this car accelerate faster than the Audi. 0 to 60 time on this car is about 5.6 seconds versus the Audi's 7.1. This car is far more brisk because of its extensive weight savings and improved output on its engine and drivetrain. So the other thing to consider is they're both all-wheel drive. So if you get the xDrive BMW, that's a wash, because the Quattro in the Audi A4 is exceptional and arguably one of the best in the business. However, if you need that sure-footed, bad driving conditions type of experience, the BMW can accommodate that as well. So moving right along, we look at the wheel package, for example. And with the wheels here, this car comes standard with 18-inch wheels, where the Audi A4 also has 18-inch wheels, so that's pretty comparable. 19 inches optional, of course, with these cars, but 18 inches standard. They also come standard with equipped 130 mile per hour rating. Because of the tires, it's D-rated for maximum speed output, whereas the Audi's also rated at 130 miles per hour. If you get the improved performance package for the BMW, you can get the 155 mile per hour governed output for that car as well. Now let's talk about styling elements. Now look at the headlights here, for example, on the BMW. The headlights are very much replicating the dual round headlights that you traditionally have seen in previous generations of the BMWs. But here they're more squared off, but it still gives that overall look. You sort of get those two blocks that feel like the old traditional BMWs. Whereas the Audis are more a reverse check mark. They have more of the lines and sort of the borders that they draw, and a sharper set of lines that really give it that presence when you're looking. They're both LEDs, so they both share similar technology, just a slightly different design theme. As well as the grille. If you look at the grille on the BMW, small kidney grille's pretty traditional for the BMW, but the Audi is an entirely different design with that huge front grille that Audi is known for. Neither is necessarily better or worse, but they both definitely represent the brand very well and consistent with the overall design theme throughout the whole lineup. So, and then let's talk a little bit about the styling elements of both cars. So looking right here, the BMW has a lot more style theme happening here. You've got some distinctive lines that run the length that come up here. You've got lines that run the length here, up here. You've got a secondary line there as well. You've got a lot of these different little accents that cut off and make it a little sharper. You've got more of these interesting little accents. Dual exhaust, which is sharp on this car. And you've got the fancy LED streamlined taillights here as well. Now, lots of design elements. The car overall has a very muscular look. It flares out at the rear fenders here very, very nicely, and you can see the whole side. The flank of it is actually flared. It flares out very, very nicely. Versus the Audi A4 is a lot more conservative. It actually puts down more of that generic look to it. It's always been a little bit more soft lines, soft touches. Design elements have been always a lot more conservative. And it's really based on the Volkswagen Jetta. So it's not a surprise. I mean, Audi puts their touches on it, but essentially it's a dressed up Volkswagen Jetta. And that's why you see a lot of very generic detailing along the side of the car. It's very simple, very basic. The big thing with the Audis are the LED taillights, LED headlights, and the front grille that make it very distinctive. Otherwise, the majority of the bodywork is actually very, very simple, as it were. As well, I mean, if you look at the BMW, they actually have some interesting touches. If you look through there, you can actually see these ducts go through there and actually assist with cooling and airflow and give you improved coefficient of drag on these cars. And overall, the general design of the BMW is slightly more aggressive than that of the Audi A4. So at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to personal choice. The BMW has more aggressive styling, it has a little bit improved performance, but the Audi has the consistent quality, the touch, the feel, the class, if you will. And you know you get a good solid product with the Audi. Not only that, the Quattro system has always had that name. And you know that you've got the sure-footed handling when the going gets tough. You hit snowy conditions or bad weather, the Audi's going to get you through it. Now, that being said, it becomes a personal choice. BMWs are always big on forward-thinking, new designs. Audi's a little more conventional and in most cases a little bit more conservative. So it just depends on your personal train of thought. Either way, you can't go too wrong. Prices are comparable. Performance on the upscale versions of both are very comparable. So it really comes down to a personal choice. So everybody, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click on the link here below in the end screen. That's going to take you to my full review of the brand new BMW 330xi, the G20 version. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope to see you soon. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.